From being at the top of the Fortnite world to making the biggest mistake a creator can make, one that would ultimately lead to their downfall. In today's video, we'll be looking into 3 Fortnite pros who ruined their reputation, career, and lives with a single video. Starting with Scented, one of the most controversial players in Fortnite history. Scented was born on November 9th of 2001 in Canada. Scented's first official Fortnite event was the Share the Love Cup on February 14th of 2019, where he placed 136th, which was definitely a sign of greatness to come. And just 1 month later, he would get his first ever earnings during the Scallywag Cup, where he finished 3rd, earning $400 on March 17th of 2019. Soon after, the Fortnite World Cup was announced on March 25th of 2019.
Fortnite World Cup. The Fortnite World Cup starts on April 13th, when all eligible Fortnite players from around the world will be able to compete in the weekly online opens. In each region, the top performing players from the online opens will earn a spot in the Fortnite World Cup Finals in New York City to compete for their share of a $30 million prize pool.
Scented placed 3rd in the second week of the solo qualifiers, but unfortunately this wasn't enough to secure a spot at the Fortnite World Cup in New York City, as he was competing in the NA West region, where only the top 2 players qualified. Despite this, Scented still had a shot at qualifying for New York through the duo qualifiers. He teamed up with Edgy, and together they placed 3rd in week 8 of the duo qualifiers, once again falling just short of qualification. After narrowly missing out on the World Cup, Scented became more determined than ever, dedicating himself fully to improving for the upcoming season. He and Edgy teamed up with Rex for the True FNCS, and they went on to dominate the NA West region, winning 8 out of the 12 tournaments that season. To put their performance into perspective, in the 4 tournaments they didn't win, they still finished 2nd. Heading into Chapter 2, Scented, Edgy, and Rex picked up Epicware as their 4th teammate for the squad FNCS. The team would go on to place 3rd in the FNCS Grand Finals, which was a strong finish. Following the success, Scented and Edgy made a bold decision. They decided to leave NA West and move to NA East, seeking tougher competition and the opportunity to compete for larger prize pools against the best players in the world. However, things didn't go exactly to plan. They ended up placing 9th, not a bad placement by any means, but definitely was short of what they had hoped for. The following season shifted to solos, and like many other pros at the time, Scented didn't take it too seriously. As a result, he finished in a disappointing 62nd place. But more importantly, this was the season where everything changed for Scented's career. He and Edgy decided to team up with Commandment, and although they didn't know it at the time, this trio would go on to become one of the most decorated teams in Fortnite history. But despite their success, they always seemed to be cursed when it mattered most. Nevertheless, they breezed through the qualifiers, securing their spot in the Chapter 2 Season 4 FNCS Grand Finals. Scented would have his first major breakthrough by placing 2nd, earning $17,000. Following this impressive result, Scented quickly gained recognition as one of the top players in the NA East region. Riding the momentum of their success, Scented, Edgy, and Commandment decided to stick together going into Chapter 2 Season 5. The trio continued to dominate, consistently placing well in the FNCS qualifiers and cash cups. And with this newfound success also came an offer from a huge esports organization. Scented was about to get an offer of a lifetime. He officially joined FaZe Clan. This signing came just in time for the FNCS Grand Finals, which took place on March 13th and 14th of 2021. Scented alongside Edgy and Commandment jumped straight into the battle bus, and once again they delivered, securing yet another 2nd place finish. While this was an incredible achievement, falling just short of the championship for a 2nd consecutive season only fueled Scented's hunger for the elusive FNCS title heading into the next season. However, that hunger didn't translate into victory. In an almost unbelievable turn of events, the trio would place 2nd again, marking their 3rd consecutive runner-up finish. And if that wasn't enough, the heartbreak continued in the following season, where they finished 2nd for the 4th time in a row. While their consistency was absolutely unprecedented, it began to feel like they were cursed. And because of this, Scented and Edgy would part ways, which led to Scented and Commandment picking up Stretch. And in their first FNCS together, they would place 4th, followed by a slight step back in the FNCS Grand Royale at the end of 2021, where they placed 6th. Although during Chapter 2, Scented wasn't able to get the FNCS championship. Considering he placed second 4 times in a row in numerous top 10s, he was heavily regarded as the best IGL possibly of all time, but definitely during chapter 2. Then heading into the 2022 season, things would change big time for Scented. This is because Epic Games decided to switch things up and switch from the trios game mode to duos. This meant that everyone was on the hunt for a new duo, including Scented, which is where Scented would find the upcoming prodigy, Cold. On paper, they were the perfect pair. Scented the best IGL in the region, and Cold one of the top mechanical fighters. The duo had all the makings of greatness, but as always, success in Fortnite comes down to how you perform on the biggest stage. On February 22nd of 2022, Scented and Cold jumped into the Chapter 3 Season 1 Grand Finals, where they finished in 5th place, taking home $20,000. It was a strong start, but more importantly, it put the spotlight on Cold. Many began to recognize just how skilled he truly was. Then came the next season. With momentum building, Scented and Cold delivered a massive performance, and once again finished in 2nd place. At this point, everything was falling into place for Scented. It seemed like it was only a matter of time before he finally claimed that long-awaited FNCS championship. However, controversy would soon strike. On June 3rd of 2022, just 4 days after Sented's impressive 2nd place finish, a clip began circulating on Twitter in which he was heard using a racial slur. The video quickly gained traction, sparking outrage across the community. It was a major blow, not only to Sented's reputation, but also to the brands and organizations he was affiliated with. Most of Sented's sponsorships and partnerships had come through FaZe Clan, one of the most recognizable organizations in esports. Given the backlash and nature of the clip, it was no surprise that many brands no longer wanted to be associated with someone now being portrayed as potentially racist online. And this is what Scented had to say about the situation.
I said that on Hellfire stream 7 months before it got released. So basically when I said it, I was freaking my off. And wow, this brings me back down a dark path, genuinely. But yeah, I got a call. I was like, you can drop me if you want. I was bawling my eyes out for, I don't know, probably 6 hours straight.
Despite the controversy surrounding him, Scented knew he had to stay focused for himself and more importantly for his teammate Cold. Heading into Chapter 3 Season 3, the duo secured what was widely considered the best drop spot of the season, positioning them as strong favorites to finally capture that long-awaited FNCS title. However, the fallout from Scented's situation hadn't fully settled, and parts of the Fortnite community decided to mess with him. While some, like Bucky, made jokes on stream mostly for content, others took it too far. Some of the other pros by the names of Aviv and Donnie crossed the line, changing their in-game names to mock Scented and deliberately landing on him and Cold during FNCS matches. Their actions were widely seen as intentional griefing, and it had a clear impact. As a result, Scented and Cold struggled throughout the grand finals, ultimately finishing 25th out of the 50 teams, Scented's worst placement to date. Despite everything that was going on, they knew they had the FNCS Invitational to look forward to just around the corner. This event was the first major LAN event since the World Cup. It was held in the Raleigh Convention Center in North Carolina on November 12th and 13th. Many people doubted whether Scented and Cold could perform on the global stage, especially with the pressure and controversy still lingering, but they had silenced the critics by placing 3rd overall and taking home $60,000 each. Considering they were up against the best duos from all around the world, it was an impressive achievement. And eventually, Epic Games announced the merge of the NA East and NA West regions into one super region, NA Central. And for FNCS Major 2 of 2023, Scented would duo with the one and only Clix, and this duo was looking quite strong heading into the FNCS. But disaster would strike. Clix would actually get banned in the middle of the FNCS qualifiers for teaming with a viewer in a solo cash cup. Ultimately, this led to Scented not being able to qualify for the grand finals. After the setback, Scented slowly began to step back from competitive Fortnite, and on August 19th of 2023, Scented would announce that he joined Agent Gaming. Around the same time, he began posting IRL videos, something completely new for him. Unfortunately, the Agent Gaming house wouldn't last too long. Nowadays, Scented spends most of his time in the world of meme coins, where he seems to be doing quite well. But Scented isn't the only Fortnite pro who faced controversy. Another notable example is FaZe Dubs. Daniel Paul Walsh, aka Dubs, was born on November 21st of 2002. Like many of us gamers, he got into video games at a very young age with the influence of his older brother who played too. But while Dubs loved gaming, his true passion was skateboarding. He took it seriously, so seriously that at just 13 years old, he attended Woodward Skate Camp, one of the most prestigious skateboarding camps in the United States. It was a dream for any young skater. But on just his first day there, tragedy struck.
So I was 13 years old, skateboarding at Woodward Skate Camp, and the first day I was there, I ended up breaking my femur, which I then had to go get a cast. I was in the cast for about a year.
The injury was so intense he needed a full leg cast, and without knowing it at the time, this injury would change the entire trajectory of his life. Since Dubs was stuck in such a massive cast, there wasn't much he could do physically. To cheer him up, his mom surprised him with a brand new gaming setup. This is where Dubs' true passion for gaming began to grow, and it just so happened right around this time, a brand new game was released, one that will not only change Dubs' life, but reshape the entire gaming world. That game was Fortnite. As we all know, Fortnite took the world by storm overnight. Everyone was playing it, kids, streamers, celebrities, and Dubs was right there with them. All his friends at school were hooked, dropping into the map every day after class. But there was something different about Dubs. While his friends were just having fun, Dubs was getting good, like really good. During the very first open tournament on December 12th of 2018, during the Winter Royale, Dubs placed 67th out of the 100 players, earning $1,500, which was absolutely massive for a 14-year-old kid. And soon enough, Dubs would find his partner in crime, Mega. In just their first tournament together on March 17th of 2019, they would place second in the Scallywag Cup, earning $1,000, which had shown they were a force to be reckoned with. And on February 22nd of 2019, the World Cup qualifiers were announced, marking the beginning of what would become the most significant event in Fortnite's history. Players from all around the world were given the chance to compete for a share of $30 million, with the grand finals set to take place in New York City. For Dubs and Mega, this was the opportunity of a lifetime. But that didn't mean it was going to be easy. In the first week of duo qualifiers, they struggled heavily, finishing in 500th place. The following week, they barely cracked the top 200. At that point, it looked like qualifying for the World Cup was nothing more than a long shot. So going into week 6, they knew they had to lock in if they wanted to have a chance to compete at New York. And that's exactly what they did. They placed 5th, which secured their ticket into the World Cup duos. While it took some time for them to find their rhythm as a team, this would be the complete opposite in solos for Dubs, because in just the first solo qualifier, Dubs placed 2nd, then 6th, followed by a first place finish in week 5 and 3rd not long after. With performances like that, it wasn't long before the community started paying attention, but not all of the attention was positive. With this sudden rise to the top, many people began to question whether he was legit. Who is this kid seemingly coming out of nowhere and dominating the competitive scene? Even some of the best players in the world, including Booga himself, thought something suspicious was going on.
We're watching these clips right here, and I was like, what the hell is this kid's aim? Look how snappy it looks. You guys see how snappy? Like, watch this. Look how, like, flicky and weird it looks.
Of course, it was all just speculation at the time, no solid proof of cheating ever surfaced, but this wouldn't be the last time Dubs found himself in the middle of controversy, so make sure you stick around until the end of the video. With his name quickly rising in the Fortnite scene, Dubs began streaming and uploading to YouTube, and with all of this attention, it wasn't long before a major esports organization came knocking. Dubs, along his duo partner Mega, officially signed to FaZe Clan. With the new org to represent and doubters to silence, Dubs and Mega locked in. They dedicated themselves fully to preparing for the Fortnite World Cup finals in New York. For months, they grinded harder than ever, running scrims, developing strategies, and doing everything that they could to be ready for the biggest stage in Fortnite history. When it was finally time, Dubs and Mega flew out to New York City, determined to prove the world wrong. And that's exactly what they did. Out of 50 of the best duos on the planet, Dubs and Mega placed 7th, securing a massive $375,000. Then in the solo finals, Dubs showed out once again, placing 15th overall. Altogether, Dubs walked away with the life-changing $437,000 at just 16 years old. He was one of the best Fortnite players in the world, and with all of the fame, things were heading in a great direction. But behind the scenes, things were about to take a dark turn. At the height of his fame, Dubs made a devastating mistake. In February of 2020, FaZe Dubs was hanging out with his friends in a Discord call, and one of his friends were live. During that stream, Dubs had used a racial slur. Within hours, the clip spread across Twitter, sparking outrage throughout the entire gaming community. In response to the situation, Dubs tweeted, "I can't even describe how sorry I am. I did not intend to be hurtful in any way, but what I said was still hurtful, insensitive, and wrong. The word shouldn't have been in my vocabulary, and I apologize from the bottom of my heart to everyone I offended by using it. You deserve better." Despite his apology, the damage was done. Some mistakes leave a mark that's hard to erase, and this was one of them. FaZe Clan responded by suspending Dubs indefinitely, and he quickly vanished from social media. From being on top of the Fortnite world to suddenly facing the possibility that his career was over, it was a shocking and rapid fall from grace. However, eventually as time went on and Dubs went through sensitivity training, he was reinstated by FaZe Clan. And on April 20th of 2020, Dubs and Mega would place second in the Chapter 2 Season 2 Duo FNCS Grand Finals. But in the following season, things took another terrible turn. In May of 2020, a video surfaced that accused Dubs of teaming during a solo cash cup, a serious allegation. The footage appeared to show Dubs and another player, Waffles, coordinating with each other in game. Cheating in any form directly violates Epic Games' terms of service, and the community was quick to respond with outrage. Epic acted immediately, issuing Dubs a 30-day competitive ban. In response to the backlash, Dubs released a 43-minute YouTube video titled "Talking About My 30-Day Ban," in which he defended his actions and shared his side of the story.
So pretty much, you guys are gonna notice I land at the same building every game, right? I do my same loop path, same everything, every game.
Whether you believe him or not, one thing was clear: Dubs had now been involved in 2 major controversies within just 6 months. His reputation was ruined and his career was barely hanging on. But if there's one thing that separates Dubs from everyone else, is his strong perseverance. So with this, he chose to lay low on social media and focus entirely on competitive Fortnite. And it looked like the grind was paying off. In 2021, Dubs made a strong comeback, placing 6th in the Chapter 2 Season 6 True FNCS, then 6th again in the FNCS All-Star Showdown, and 9th in the Chapter 2 Season 7 Grand Finals. Everything was going back to how it once was for Dubs. However, 2022 would be the start of Dubs not performing well at all in tournaments, and because of this, FaZe Clan decided to drop their entire Fortnite roster on February 8th of 2023. And from here, Dubs kinda just went silent. He still earned small placements here and there, but nothing close to what he achieved before. Then just like that, he disappeared. No streams, no tweets, nothing. It had been over a year since anyone had heard anything about where Dubs had been. Well, until Mega told his livestream where Dubs had been.
Yeah, Dubs is in the army right now. He's actually the captain of his unit. Like, he used to IG on Fortnite, but now he's IGLing the army. It's honestly sad, bro. It's like, bro, he hasn't hit me up since he joined. Like, I haven't talked to him since. Like, I haven't heard of him in months, man. He hasn't hit me back, nothing, bro. What's his IRL Kate? Alright, bro.
More recently, on August 13th of this year, Dubs broke his silence with a tweet simply showing him having fun with his friends and enjoying life. After everything he went through, it seems like he's doing good nowadays. Throughout his career, Dubs was just a kid who made some big mistakes, and in the world of competitive Fortnite, that's not uncommon. Which brings us to the next person on our list, Peterbot. Unlike Dubs, Peterbot had been dominating the Fortnite scene recently, but his journey hasn't been without controversy either. So to quickly recap and understand what led to this point, in 2024, Peterbot and Pollo placed 2nd in Major 1, then took 1st in Major 2, and once again claimed 1st place in Major 3. But it was right around this time Peterbot made a massive mistake, one that would come back to haunt him much later on. For now, the dynamic duo continued their dominance, even going on to win the 2024 Global Championship.
Would you please give it everything you've got for the FNCS Global Champions 2024?
Then heading into 2025, the game mode would switch into the Trios format. Peterbot decided to trio Ritual and Cold, where they placed 2nd in Major 1, showcasing early dominance, and followed that performance by winning Major 2. Momentum firmly on their side, they headed into Major 3 and secured the FNCS Championship once again, cementing Peterbot's legacy as one of the game's greats. But behind the scenes, a storm was brewing. As I mentioned at the start of the video, on August 8th of this year, a video leaked showing Peterbot making one of the biggest mistakes a creator can make. In that moment, he said a slur containing a word that started with F and another starting with N, which I won't repeat or show. Obviously, this was not a good look. The clip had gone viral all over Twitter and TikTok. Soon after, Peterbot posted an apology tweet, but many replied claiming AI detectors said it was 100% AI written.
No. No. No.
Yo, how stupid can you get, bro?
Bro, that's actually bad. That
Bro.
makes it so...
Epic ultimately never took action, and despite the controversy, Peterbot is still set to compete at the upcoming LAN. But anyways, thanks for watching, subscribe and like the video if you haven't yet, as it means a lot, and feel free to watch this video if you haven't seen it yet.